Sometimes you need the right tools for the right job. Stay tuned. Okay guys, as you can see, we're working on the Hadron again behind me, and we're putting in a Pentium. Pentium? This is the 20th anniversary edition Pentium chip. Why the Pentium chip? Well, because this doesn't exactly bode the best cooling situation in the world. And frankly, for light gaming and packing it around like I'm gonna do, 2 cores that can overclock are more than enough. The cooling solution we're gonna use in this build is the EVGA ACX mITX cooler, or more specifically, the one that they make that fits this case, which is the most important part. So we're going to go through what's in this box, we're going to go through opening the Pentium chip, and we're going to go through installing everything. Woo! So first things first, let's go ahead and take a look at the Pentium processor. No, bat knife! Oh, I don't have a bat knife. So sad. What do we got in the box? We have a cooler you can throw away. Well, don't throw it away. It's good for bench testing. But importantly, we have the LGA 1150 Pentium anniversary chip. So the chip, it's 2.2 gigahertz, 2 cores, 3 gigs of cache, and frankly guys, if you're just doing light gaming, I'm putting a GTX 760 in this, or 670 in this build. So this should be enough to really not cap the games too much, but we will be doing benchmarks, and I've done benchmarks before with the 670, so we should be able to see a pretty good difference and kind of where we're at, and you know, just where things are. The ACX cooling unit. Bat knife! Oh, I still don't have one. So in the box, we have precautions. And like every man ever, I will not read that. Because what fun is life if you can't break everything? Just kidding. So, the fastening method, well actually first here, we have a very non-remarkable tube of thermal grease. Yet another name for thermal paste that people like to use. I will be throwing this in the garbage and of course using my Noctua NH1. So I will say one thing right away. Looks pretty. All black coated. You know, been nice to see caps on the tips, but she's a purdy. That's a 92 millimeter fan right there, so she ain't gonna be quiet. But frankly, one thing you trade when you go to mITX is sound for power, I mean, and size. The smaller you get, the louder things get. So you'll notice the nice thing here is it is a small enough cooler, and it is 4 heat pipes, even though it's a small cooler, that the mounting is still the good old Intel basic. Now, what I will probably do is take off the fans, which I will say right away, good on you EVGA. These are actually, you know, a little bit thicker wire gauge than most of the ones I've been taking off of coolers lately. So that was actually nice. Nice curve on the inside there. I don't know, it's just a nice little cooler, guys. I mean, it looks really nice. If you just want a not too expensive small little guy that is going to be better than the stock cooler and looks nice, you know, maybe you're doing an EVGA build, check it out. Okay guys, so one thing you can see is I still have the cover on there. Don't want to bend a pin. I destroyed a board that way, and one thing I still like about the AMD versus the Intels is I love the pins on the CPUs instead of on the motherboards, because they seem to be less fragile when they were on the CPUs. The next thing I'm going to say is I did already install a bunch of stuff in here, just test fitting it. So I'm going to try to do the cooler install, but as you can see, and the thing I've learned is when you're getting your power supply custom sleeved, the major thing you really need to do is send the case and the motherboard with it, which I didn't do, so it's my damn fault. But this 8-pin might not be long enough, and I might have to put an extension on it, which really sucks considering there's no place to cable manage things in this case. which was the whole reason I did this to begin with. So we're going to see if I can stretch that far enough and not have the power supply like nuclear melt down and not get it in the fans. So also still got to put some RAM in there. All I have is blue RAM right now, so I may stick that in for the time being. And I may paint, you know, this cable at some point, but frankly, I just kind of want to get this build done because it's been forever. So let's go ahead and put the CPU in. So first things first, you want to let up the little mounting arm. I'm sure most of you have done this before if you're watching a video about customizing a PC case. So we're going to go ahead and very gently put the CPU down in its little spot there. Right that back under there. And boop, right on off. Okay, back with the NH1. We're just going to do our normal little goop of pea size or grain of rice or, you know, whatever you want to call it. Really, the only method I don't like, guys, is using the scraper to scrape down. That's the only one that I've actually had a bad time with. So, on this, you can see there's little black, maybe you can see, there's a little black peg in there. When it's pushed through, it comes all the way up. When it's pulled out, it's pulled out. See, there's a space there now. You want to make sure those are all pulled out all the way around, or else you're going to have a hell of a time getting this in. That's my one advice with this kind of system. You're going to want to get it lined up as best you can, and then push straight down without turning is usually the trick that I do. And of course, this is going to be 1,000 times worse on camera because I can't see what I'm doing on the other side. Now, take a flathead screwdriver, put it in the little thing. Okay, so I finally got it in there. Couple of tips. One is, you know, these are like the stock coolers. They're a little harder to put on, in my opinion, than the ones that, you know, bolt to the motherboard. They're a little more work if they have to, like, you know, have a back plate and everything, but they are more secure, in my opinion. This did take a little while to get locked in tight to where I felt it's secure. The next thing is I had to pull it back off because to put the fan cable in, there was no room when the heatsink was there because it's a little tiny case. So I had to do that. And then getting the fan on was kind of a chore because, well, I can't reach down that outside. So again, it goes back to if you're building a really tiny system and have big fat hands, you're just going to have these kind of problems. Anyways, guys, this is the EVGA mITX cooler. If you're building in a Hadron, I highly recommend it. We'll see how it does performance-wise in future videos, but until then, this is Tim for TimmyTechTV. We'll see you guys next time.